this is Greg Kelly. Donate now to Toys for Tots, which works year-round. Go to toysfortots.org. Toys for Tots supports children in need throughout the year with programs like the Toys for Tots Literacy Program. Established in 2008, it has provided over 63 million books to disadvantaged children. The Toys for Tots Literacy Program is committed to providing disadvantaged children with direct access to books and educational resources that enhance their ability to read and communicate effectively. Go to toysfortots.org.
In the squadron, they called him Bullets, but we call him Greg Kelly. Greg Kelly is on the air
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Pardon me. So I just saw the head of the Iranian police, and he's saying, everything good, everything good. We are firing many, many rockets, and Israel and America, you are doomed. Well, one reason why I'm not taking him seriously, they said that yesterday and nothing hit anything. They lobbed a bunch of stuff up, like Roman candles or bottle rockets actually are more effective. The other thing was his uniform. He had more patches than a Eagle Scout. Eagle Scout with all of his merit badges, right? It looks cool when you're in the Boy Scouts, but when you're in a real military or police force, it looks ridiculous. People who have been known to festoon themselves, I mean, really overdo it with ribbons and medals and stuff like that. The Mexicans and the Russians. Leonid Brezhnev comes to mind. He just had a whole shirt full of that crap. And a lot of it is, good attendance. Or who the hell knows what it is, but it's too much. Sometimes when it comes to military and when it comes to fashion, less is more. You know what I mean? I think it was Coco Chanel or somebody along those lines. Coco Chanel. Anybody realize how popular these silly bags are with the women? They will do it. They will literally prostitute themselves. I mean, literally prostitute themselves to have enough money to buy a stupid pocketbook to impress their friends. The last thing a guy notices when he looks at a girl is her pocketbook, right? You can have a brown paper bag. I mean, we don't care. We absolutely don't care. One other thing. You ever see those professors and they wear those jackets with the patches on the sleeve, right? Look at that. Look at my elbow. I have a broken fabric. I have a rip in my professorial jacket right where that patch would be, but I don't have the patch. Maybe those patches are not decorative. I always thought that they were kind of decorative and ridiculous. I mean, what is that guy doing with his elbows? Why would he need extra padding around his patches, around his elbows? But what can I tell you? I got a hole right there, and this jacket is actually not very old, and this jacket is actually very, very high quality. You may be familiar with the name Tom Ford. Yes, it's Tom Ford. However, I bought it on sale at Neiman Marcus when they were going out of business, and in New York. I bought about $20,000 worth of clothing for $300. I mean, that place was shutting down in like minutes, and they were literally giving the stuff away. All right, what was the other thing that we had to do here? Carlos, I would like to play this for everybody. It's Bibi Netanyahu, who I think, people give Bibi a hard time. And if I were working with Bibi, I probably would also find him obnoxious. Israeli prime ministers are notoriously difficult for American leaders to deal with. They can be very demanding. They can be, but they have to be, given where they live. Look, I just know this is true of Bibi, and I also know it was true of Menachem Begin. People hated dealing with him. And there are plenty in between, but I do remember hearing a lot of bitching and moaning about Menachem Begin, not about the policies, but more about the personality. And then Bibi, I hear complaints about that. But every time Bibi opens his mouth, and I first noticed this in 1995, I'm like, this guy is making total and complete sense. And he sounds like, an American. He sounds like he's from New Jersey. And in a weird way, he is from New Jersey. He worked in New Jersey. He spent a lot of time in Pennsylvania. He went to high school, I think. He went to MIT. He knows America, and he knows American politics. But here he is. Very interesting conversation with Dr. Phil, of all people. How about that one? Dr. Phil. You got it? We all ready to go here? Hey, the other thing I really admire about Bibi, I mean, number one, he's a fighter. He's good in a crisis. And one day I'd love to meet him. I never have, although I have met his ex-wife, Fleur, very wonderful woman. And he has a brother named Jonathan, had a brother named Jonathan, who was an Israeli soldier who died during the raid on Entebbe. Anybody remember that? In Idi Amin? It's really an amazing story. The successful rescue of those hostages. Go ahead, please.
Do you think that October 7th gave people a sense of moral authority to express their anti-Semitism?
Well, because the internet has been flooded by fake propaganda describing Israel as the aggressor instead of the country that's been aggressed upon, saying that falsely accusing us of genocide when we have sacrificed our soldiers in taking out terrorist places that we could have just carpet bombed and we didn't. We do everything in our power to keep civilians out of harm's way, and Hamas did everything in their power to keep them in harm's way. They shoot people. When we tell Palestinian civilians, please get out of this neighborhood because we're coming in, Hamas shoots them if they want to come out. But they're not only targeting us. And they not only chant death to America, death to Israel, death to America, they want to get rid of us in order to get rid of you. But they're also going after minorities, and specifically against Christians. Christians throughout the Middle East are being oppressed. They're being driven out. It's something that the only safe place for Christians, where the Christian community is growing and thriving, is in Israel. They've been kicked out of Turkey. They've been oppressed in Syria, in Lebanon, in the areas that we handed over to the Palestinians some 30 years ago. We were controlling Bethlehem, the birthplace of Jesus. At that time, the overwhelming majority of the Arabs living in Bethlehem were Christian Arabs, over 80%. Now, after 30 years, they're down to 20% because they're oppressed, and so they leave. But that's not what's happening in Israel itself. In Israel itself, they're growing, they're thriving. They serve in the army. Christian Arabs serve in the army, yes. Very brave soldiers, because they know that Israel is fighting not only our battle, but their battle.
Well, I believe Bibi, and I don't care if he's a handful to deal with, behind the scenes. That man's been through it all and has seen it all. And I think it's such a righteous, beautiful partnership. Hey, real quick about Chris Sununu. No, he's not the CEO of American Airlines, and people have erroneously said that. I said it for a reason. I've been hearing it all over town, and I'm like, what the hell does that guy know about being an airline CEO? Well, he is not the CEO of American Airlines. However, he is the president and CEO of Airlines for America. What's the difference? Well, that's a lobbying group, and he's perfectly suited to be one of those guys. That organization is a lobbying and advocacy group representing major U.S. airlines, including American Airlines, Delta Airlines, United Airlines, Southwest Airlines, and FedEx. His job is not running an airline. Phew, thank God. His job is running the airlines industry's Washington lobbying operation. And why not? He just got out of political office. Why not turn around and become a lobbyist? He knows government. He was the governor of New Hampshire for a long time, and wasn't he a senator, or his brother was a senator? I know this. He was a never-Trumper, but then he kind of warmed to Trump, like a lot of other people, right? After he kept winning and winning and winning, finally, if you can't beat him, join him. Chris, is he with us, heart and soul? Probably not, but that's okay. That's okay. Not everybody can be like you and me, with him from day one. And, sometimes I do remember. I try to think back. I knew he would win on day one, but it took me a little bit of time to really kind of let that sink in. Look, I had been bombarded with fake news for a long, long, long time. Oh, I want to go back real quick to Gavin and Biden and any other career politician with a great big stupid smile on their face. Big smile. Nancy Reagan once said, most people you meet are just just a handshake and a shoe shine away from devastation. I'm not quite sure what she meant by that, but maybe it's why some of these career politicians are always smiling like crazy. Gavin Newsom, the electric smile. Joe Biden, the electric smile. Listen to Donald Trump, who is not known for his effervescent smile, right? His official portrait, he's kind of glowering. He looks stern. He looks like a leader. He looks like, he's got business to do. Not like he's trying to please somebody. He's trying to lead a nation. And whenever I see a smiley politician, I think about this moment, Donald Trump's first national appearance on television, 1980, 34 years old, not even old enough to be president, but they asked him, hey, do you want to be president someday? Because he was that accomplished. He was that impressive. And people were talking about him being president way before he was old enough to be president. Cut 11, please, Donald Trump.
Capable people are not necessarily running for political office, and that is a very sad commentary on the country. They had major corporations and they had this and that, but they are not running for political office.
Why wouldn't someone like yourself run for political office? You have all the money that you possibly need. You've accomplished a great deal, even though you are only 34. I know there's a lot of things that you possibly can do in the years ahead. Why wouldn't you dedicate yourself to public service?
Because I think it's a very mean life. I would love and I would dedicate my life to this country, but I see it as being a mean life, and I also see it as somebody with strong views and somebody with the kind of views that are maybe a little bit unpopular, which may be right, but may be unpopular, wouldn't necessarily have a chance of getting elected against somebody with no great brain but a big smile.
How about that? Reminds us of somebody, right? No great brain but a big smile. Gavin, Joe, almost every other career politician out there. Oh, wow. He's got a winning smile. I like him. I like the way he makes me feel. I don't know. I just like him. That's what they know about likability, but they don't know about effectiveness. You know what I mean? Hey, I'm very impressed by these Iranian women who are getting the hell out of Iran. So the Iranian soccer team shows up in Australia and they make a run for it. And we have the moment that they actually break free. The soccer players, this is the women's soccer team, and they literally are running away from their chaperones, right? You ever remember chaperones? You don't hear about chaperones any much. I think we should have more. Bring back the chaperones. I think that's good supervision for the kids. Let me just make sure we know everything about this. The chaperones for the women's Iranian soccer team seen panicking as they raced down a staircase after realizing some of the players escaped the training facility in Australia. 6 women decided to accept humanitarian visas, allowing them to permanently stay in Australia. One woman accepted the visa, but later decided to return to Iran. The IRGC-aligned staff remain at the Royal Pines Resort. No Australian security or police tried to stop the IRGC from trying to prevent the players' escape. It was left to me, Tina, and a female journalist. This is Australia. You want to see it? You want to see it all go down? Hit it, Carlos.
Yeah, IRGC? No, it's Australia now. You're in Australia, motherfucker.
Uh-oh.
You're in Australia.
Uh-oh. Can we pick up after that? You're in Australia, MFer. You're in Australia. They're proud. Pick it up if you can. If there's another curse word, we'll get out. Try it.
Get you now. You better run. Yeah, you got no rights here. You're in Australia. I know who you are. Get down the stairs, yes.
They're yelling at the bad.
Run now.
The bad
What cowards are you guys running? Yeah, cowards. The news is gonna love this.
I do.
Yeah, where's the smiles now? IRGC.
IRGC are the bad guys.
Fuck out of it.
Uh-oh, stop that language. Love you, Australia, but you got to clean it up. 800-848-9222, 800-848-9222. What we had there were the very glum Islamic Republican, whatever the hell they are, Revolutionary Corps Guard, trying to get the women soccer players back into their custody, but they had already bolted, and now they're free in Australia. And I love it. I love it. Good job. You know who doesn't love it? Everybody goes to the one soccer player that people kind of know, Megan Rapinoe, that dope with she's rooting for Iran, believe it or not. Be right back.
Greg Kelly
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
So the war in Iran is going fabulously well for us and Israel. To look at the coverage is, quite frankly, disgusting. The New York Times, my gosh, I mean, they've been anti-Semitic for a long time, anti-Israel, and to see how they are portraying the damage that was sustained, yes, minor damage at American military facilities, that somehow that was decisive or cataclysmic for our efforts, our security, wrong. They were literally pinpricks, all right? And lucky shots. I see way down in the fine print, they acknowledge that it actually looks like, let's see here. How do they strikes, retaliatory strikes from Iran appear to be diminishing all the way at the bottom. But the first top sections say that the U.S. is miscalculated. The U.S. is on the ropes. The U.S. is at fault in the strike on the school in Iran, according to whom? It doesn't really matter. It takes a year to figure out this stuff. It really does. You crash one airplane, right? Or the wrong person gets shot, or how about an American Airlines jet crashes somewhere? How long does that investigation take? It usually takes about a year. There might be preliminary findings. There may not be preliminary findings. It takes a year. You got to look at everything. Now, is there, generally speaking, like an initial theory that may not be released? You know, hey, what happened here? What's the word? And they'll come up with what they think the word is. Somebody screwed up. Somebody did this. It was the bad fuel. Who knows? Mechanical. They'll have something to say, but often that initial assessment is wrong. I think it is correct to slow walk this thing, actually. And by slow walking, actually, you could just let the inquiry, forget slow walking. Forget I said that. I just don't think you should be in a rush to say, hey, this is America. It will cloud the whole situation. It really will. Why would the IRGC, oh, by the way, co-locate military facility next to a girls' school? Right? Maybe they wanted this to happen, right? Maybe they, Isn't that possible? And is it possible that Iran did this themselves? You better believe it. I saw Jennifer Griffin there. No, that's not possible. That's not possible. That's not possible. Well, they do have Tomahawk missiles. You can get Tomahawk missiles on the black market. You can fire those things from ships. They had ships, especially in the early stages of the war. They had submarines. They have submarines. Actually, I think all the subs are gone now, but they weren't on day one of the war. And story after story. But the really revealing one is where they compare the damage on 6 military bases. I've been to half of these places at least. I've been to the one in Bahrain. I've been to the one in Kuwait. I've been to the one in Dubai. And they're massive, massive, massive complexes. And I can see the entire complex. Yes, I see where they hit something. But those strikes are going down. Everything will be negative right up until we win. How about that one?
Blizzard Entertainment presents Midnight, the newest expansion for World of Warcraft. Midnight calls every hero home to Azeroth. All paths lead to this moment. Xal'atath rises, the Void follows, and the Sunwell stands in peril. Raiders, explorers, storytellers, newcomers, and legends alike. This is your world, your story, your moment. Because Azeroth is home, and home is always worth fighting for. Available now at worldofwarcraft.com.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Well, folks, I am totally disgusted with what John Cornyn did, Republican in Texas. Are you kidding me? You want it that badly? The stuff that he did and threw at Ken Paxton. Okay, they're engaged in a bitter primary fight. Now, unlike John Cornyn, Paxton doesn't have to pay for all of his votes, right? I mean, if you look at the money they spent, Paxton was spent like $2 a voter. You got to spend money to win campaigns. I get that. And if you average it all out, he spent $2 a voter, whereas like Cornyn had to spend $100 per voter. It's crazy. Nobody has enthusiasm for a guy like John Cornyn, who's been around forever. He's also kind of a a George W. Bush type when it comes to Republicanism. Holds his nose around Trump, right? Is always kind of shocked by President Trump and all that. So I want Ken Paxton. I am making it not official because I'm not allowed to endorse anybody. But if I lived in Texas, and if I could make it to the polls and they'd let me vote, even though I don't live there, I would vote for Ken Paxton. And yes, I know he had an affair. Yes, I know he had another affair. Yes, I know he did this, he did that. Look, he's a sinner, and he got caught, and he paid an enormous price. I'm not going to write him off for that. I am writing John Cornyn off for that disgusting ad. And it's almost mockery. It seems to be mocking God. He has this voice of God saying, "Thou shalt not commit adultery." It almost makes it like a laughing matter. There's something very, very wrong with Mr. Cornyn here. I was on the fence. I'm like, okay, they'll figure it out. I don't care. Now I care. Now I'm passionate. The most devastating line in this attack ad on Paxton comes at the end. It actually comes at the end. When John Cornyn, standing there with some woman, he says, "I'm John Cornyn, and I approve this message." You approved this message? You did? You want to stay in that job that bad? You guys are going to blow it. You and your ilk will blow it. You'll let that trans fetish guy take the job. What's his name again? Tallarico, Frederico, freak. Wants to hang out with trans kids. All right, I want to play this thing for you because I don't think it's me. And maybe, who knows, maybe they pulled it because it was so over the top and nasty and stupid and wrong. It would make, I think, I knew he had his baggage and all that stuff, but you got it already? Oh, good for you, Carlos. All right, let's go ahead. I think this is it. All right, this is the Cornyn ad on Paxton, the Senate runoff. When is that, in May? You went too far here, John Boy. Now you got me all angry at you. Go ahead.
What do a burner phone, a $1,000 Mont Blanc pen, and this cash machine have in common? They are symbols of Ken Paxton's depravity. Paxton used the burner phone and an alias to hide his affair from the mother of his children. Now his wife's divorcing him on biblical grounds.
Thou shalt not commit adultery.
A Mont Blanc pen stolen from another lawyer because once a crook, always a crook.
Thou shalt not steal.
And while in office, Crooked Ken increased his net worth by up to 7,000%, then used that fortune to buy 10 properties and claimed 3 of them as his principal residence to get cheaper mortgage rates.
Thou shalt not bear false witness.
Judgment Day comes for all of us eventually. This year, in Texas, Ken Paxton faces the voters.
Defeat the crook.
I'm John Cornyn, and I approve this message. Join my team and give today.
No, John Cornyn, I won't because of that disgusting ad. I bet we can make an ad about you. I'm sure we can make an ad about you. Huh? You also squeaky clean there? That is so disgusting. And he stands there all self-righteously. I'm John Cornyn, and I approve this message. Are you perfect there, John? Are you perfect? Have you ever seen? Now listen, I'm not one of these people who says, we shouldn't judge or well, let me put it to you this way. It's not up to us to judge, right? It's not. And I'm not one of these people like, I excuse any behavior. It's all up to, no, we can discern. We can, but there's something about that. He went too far. And the mocking of God, that sounded to me like a mock. How dare he? Let's get Cornyn up on the phone. John Cornyn. Tell me, does that sound mocking? I think it sounds mocking. One more time, if you don't mind. Man, oh man, oh man. I think he just killed himself politically with this ad. John Cornyn did. You went too far, pal. This makes me like Paxton even more. One more time.
What do a burner phone, a $1,000 Mont Blanc pen, and this cash machine have in common? They are symbols of Ken Paxton's depravity. Paxton used the burner phone and an alias to hide his affair from the mother of his children. Now his wife's divorcing him on biblical grounds.
Thou shalt not commit adultery.
Stop. Right? They're playing a game. Thou shalt not commit blasphemy. That sounds blasphemous. Thou shalt not commit adultery. And they show a church. Yeah, I know. There are a lot of that. Oh, yikes. You know, people are people. People have screwed up. Regular people have done regular things. Sometimes, yeah. I think he just, yeah. I feel it. I feel it in my bones. I'm kind of excited for Ken Paxton. He's going to win. And he's going to beat that freak, Calorico, so he can spend more time pursuing his fetish. Trans kids, actually, don't do that. If you do it, we're going to arrest you. Keep going. Oh. Uh-oh. Well, we can play it and make fun of it, right? Is what we just did illegal? Uh-oh. We're going to get a fine? I mean, we're making fun of it. I think it's okay. Hey, real quick, let's check in with Jimmy, the one in the Bronx, line 4. Go ahead.
Hello, Greg. This is Jimmy. I just wanted to touch base on one thing. I want to touch about law enforcement. Also, something about the Blue Water Navy. There were guys that had served in Vietnam and after Vietnam that didn't go within the 12-mile limit to be able to claim benefits for Agent Orange. Some guys are dying. There was a ship that I was on it very briefly for training. The U.S. Massey, hull number 778, has been decommissioned in 1973. It had me all over the decks of that ship, cleaning it with a razor blade. It was some kind of a joke.
All right.
It was some kind of a joke.
Now, you're all over the place here. I can't really figure out what's going on. What's the bottom line, Jimmy?
The bottom line is they're not giving Blue Water sailors any benefits that are exposed to Agent Orange, which lasts for decades.
Yeah, I know, but you were at sea. You weren't close to the Agent Orange.
But that's the way the PAC Act is written, is that they should change that because the dioxins that cause all these illnesses, I got hypertension, I had cancer of the bladder.
How old are you?
Anyway, I'm 75 years old.
All right, that's not that old. Cancer of the bladder, that sounds like a nasty one. Yikes.
But also, I said they should change that because they says that the U.S. Massey was not inside the 12-mile limit. If you look up on VA.gov, you can look up the USS Massey did serve in Vietnam. It did some escorts for carriers. And it was called in. It was
all right. Listen, I want you to get all the benefits that you got coming to you. What do you want me to do?
They have to get somebody to change the thing that you don't have to be within the 12-mile limit. The ship did go within the 12-mile limit on.
I know, but what do you want me to do?
Well, if you can get an ear to one of the politicians.
You got to write a letter. You got to write a letter about this. You got to write a letter. All right. You can't just do this on the phone. You got to write a letter. Why don't you write a letter to? Actually, let me think about this. You know who I know? I'm actually kind of friendly with. Not to drop names. Doug Collins. What do you think of that, Jimmy?
You know the people.
You know who he is? He's the Secretary of the Veterans Affairs. Now, he doesn't make the law, but he follows the law, but I think he's a guy to talk to. All right. We're going to put you on hold, and do me a favor, Carlos. Have him mail you the letter, all right? And then put my name on it. Okay, Carlos, can you do that? And let's make sure that this happens. I want the details, and I promise you I will get it to the Secretary of Veterans Affairs. What the hell? I could do that. I can do that. Now, I don't know what the hell he's going to do. And a lot of these guys, kind of like me, it's a hot potato. Here, you do it. But I'll see if I can follow through. Okay, thank you. Let's do that. let's go to the other Jimmy. He's in Staten Island. Yes.
Hey, Greg, how you doing? Yesterday you were talking about a good sign-off, like Brett Baer has.
Yes, a good one, not a fake one like him. I mean, that guy is totally afraid. Everybody at Fox is totally afraid. That's what's so funny to me. Fair, balanced, unafraid. Number one, they're afraid of their audience, right? They're afraid of MAGA. They don't stand for anything. They are so terrified of MAGA. I just find it amusing. I mean, that one is not true. It's untrue. Fair, balanced, and unafraid. I mean, they're afraid to talk about Ashley Babbitt. They're afraid to talk about election integrity. They're afraid of certain lawyers. They are afraid. Scaredy cats. All right, but that's so that is not cool. You know why? Because it's false. They're good people over there, but too many of them are just worried about hair, makeup, and money. All right, so what do you think mine should be?
It's good. It's from John 8:32. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. You can cut that down. The truth shall make you free. Now, it's a Bible quote, but Hannity does the same thing. He says,
I'm not going to copy Hannity. Did you hear? No, I can't copy Hannity. What does Hannity say?
It's not his. He says, let not your heart be troubled.
Nah, I don't know. It sounds a little bit too like he's doing it. Now you're telling me you got your idea from Hannity. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do that. Can you go back to the drawing board for me on that one?
An example. But what? I got one more thing for you.
What?
Did you ever read Deuteronomy 28? Did you ever investigate?
At some point I did. Did I ever? Did I? The short answer is no. Did I ever investigate what?
Did God disperse the Jews and destroy the temple in 70 A.D. and plant the Dome of the Rock in that place? Do you know why he did that?
Why God did that?
Yeah,
I don't know. I remember when they blew up that thing. No, what's going on there?
Well, it's Deuteronomy 28. God, the first covenant was, if you keep my commandments, all these blessings will come upon you. I'm just paraphrasing a short version of it. And the second part of Deuteronomy 28 says, but if you break my commandments, all these evils will come upon you. And it's a picture-perfect example of what's going on in Israel today. They're being destroyed. And the ironic thing is...
Well, wait. Israel's being destroyed?
When they went into captivity by the Assyrians, God used the Persians to bail them out, Cyrus the Great.
What is your bottom line here? All right, you confuse me with the Bible citations. I love the Bible, but, people... So what is the bottom line? What are you saying?
I'm saying if you investigate who's right in this whole situation, the Bible says in 1 John...
No. There's all kinds of... Look, there's latitude for that. Who do you think is right in this situation? What does the Bible tell you? Just tell me who do you think is right in this situation.
In 1 John...
Damn it, I am going to ask you one more time, respectfully. Tell me who you think is doing the right thing, and I don't want a Bible reference.
It's hard to do that.
The Bible tells you what, and don't cite the Bible. I want to know what it says. And it led you to what conclusion?
Confesses not that Jesus Christ has come in the flesh in any Christ.
All right. I sense that you're beating around the bush with something that's possibly anti-Semitic. Is that what you're doing?
The Jews love Jesus.
All right. Yeah, that's what he's doing. That's what he's doing. You're playing a game. I don't like it. I don't like that. I have seen people take the Bible and twist it and make it say whatever they want it to say. I am like a child when it comes to that Bible, the Bible. I am. I got it right here in front of me, and I am a kid. You're citing this, you're citing that, and then you're telling me it brought you to the Jews. Guess what? Jesus was a Jew. Some of his most devout followers were, his disciples were Jews, all right? But for you to say, did the Jew, you know what I mean? It's very disappointing to me. It's very disappointing. All right, so do me a favor. Can you go back to the drawing board? I appreciate it if you would. All right, one more. Mike, hello.
Hello, Greg. If the Iranians are cutting off the oil in Hormuz, maybe we could sell oil to China.
Yeah, good idea. Thanks, man. I think you might be, no, I don't want to sell oil to China. That's not happening. Look, this thing is going to be open in no time. It's going to be back to normal mid next week. All right. Creative idea. Thank you. Hey, Carlos, you agree with me about that guy with the Bible, right? I think that's what he was getting at. I knew there was something up, right? And twisting it and turning it and being selective, being very, very selective. And the Israelis are being destroyed. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Are you smoking marijuana up there in the Bronx, wherever? All right, be right back.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Okay, we are back. I would love to. Oh, darn. Do we miss it? President Trump is at that factory in Ohio. Go ahead, please.
And I'd like to congratulate.
Thank you. It's the colleagues' work.
See the colleagues. Talk about it yourself. It's a new form of business. You said before, my associates, my colleagues, what about people that just work for you? No, right? They're colleagues.
25 years working together.
That's why it's doing so well. Congratulations. Great company. Thank you very much. Thank you. Great honor. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Gentlemen, we thought it would just be good to introduce some of our best
let's go.
People in our team and have you have a chance to say hello to
Well, let me have a picture with them. How about that?
That's great.
Come on, Peter, take a picture. Come on. Let's go. Let me get alongside of some really good-looking people. All right, let's go.
Hey, he's down with the people, and the people are down with him. I love it. Here's a blast from the past. You know, for all of his yelling and screaming, I'm looking across the street. You know who works there when he's in New York sometimes? Although he doesn't work that hard because he doesn't have a desk in his own office. What kind of man doesn't have a desk in his own office? A man who doesn't work, quite frankly. That's what you got. I'm talking about Chuck Schumer, senior senator from New York here. I've been in that office. I watch him have a mental meltdown when we were interviewing him and asking him about his previous support of a border wall. And this is when President Trump became president, and he just totally flipped out and started, and he demanded that the cameras be turned off. Okay, we'll turn off the cameras. You know what I did? I took out a little tape recorder. You can't tell me to turn off the camera. Now, the cameraman didn't work for me, so he did turn off the camera. Like, the government doesn't tell us when to turn off the camera. So I recorded him. He had a mental meltdown right in front of me. The man has been driven crazy by President Trump. Can't stand it that a guy who was never in politics just walked in. He didn't just walk in, obviously. He worked hard, and he paid an enormous price. But he obviously, his achievements, light years beyond poor Chuck Schumer. Now, Chuck Schumer, way back, used to be halfway decent, a halfway decent man, and a halfway decent legislator. Here he is on the Iran deal in 2015, and it was a crummy deal. And who was president? It was Obama, and he wasn't afraid to take on Obama. Hit it.
We should not go forward with this agreement. This evil regime has stayed in power without even a slight threat to their being overthrown. The odds to me are too high that they will stay that way. And if they do stay that way, I believe that this agreement is too flawed and too dangerous for us.
Isn't that amazing? There was a time where he said, I'm for the middle class. Now he's for AOC and transgender weirdos who want to hang out with kids. Chuck, I know your parents would be so horrified by what you've become. Anyway, we shall prevail. To be continued. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to The Greg Kelly Show. You can hear The Greg Kelly Show weekdays at 12:15 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?